we go. Here we go. Going live. And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because I want more indictments. Every time he opens up his mouth, which is his little stubby fingers, you know, the little stubby fingers he's got. Every time he opens up his stubby little fingers, I'm sorry, it's just comedic legal gold as far as we're concerned. Pressed latinum, you might say. I'm all for that First Amendment right. So go ahead and dig deeper, my friend. Go dig deep. Right. Part of this is follow through the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. That's Shujin. Hi. It's good to be back with you. At the moment, I've got just one co-host. We'll see what happens with the rest of the evening. So from the Midwest of the U.S., where I didn't actually check to find out if tornado warnings have been going off this week for you. Brigid Fitch, good evening.
Good evening. It's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, that's good. Part of the reason why I say that is because for anybody that had been watching the weather this past week over here in Buffalo, I don't know, I believe Thursday or Friday, I forget which day it was. I think it was Thursday. Could have been Friday. It's all blending together for me right now. We had the equivalent of what felt like, even if it wasn't, felt like Category 1 hurricane winds. It was not fun for me. It was whipping this big metal door back and forth. When normally the wind would just be coming in one direction, the door is open and it's, held in place by a bunch of traffic cones. And all of a sudden it gets blown halfway closed, and then you chock both sides of the door with more traffic cones, and it still gets moved back. Bad. It was a bad afternoon. That was a bad afternoon.
Eek.
Dangerous, yeah, because you get hit with a metal door. I mean, who you gonna blame? Mother Nature. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I do want to say, first off, of course, welcome back. Yeah, for those of you that didn't know, last week had to take a week off because I was taking my son back to college. So he's all moved in. He's helping out the folks that are coming up for orientation and directing people who were just like, I'm trying to find parking area number 9. Is that? The funny part of it was he didn't know where that was at first. He finally had to go and ask somebody after like the third car. So it's like, you know what? Nobody got lost. Nobody is, trying to find their way back with Balto at the front of the sled heap. So, it's all good. It's all fine. We're back. So thanks for being back, everybody. We appreciate it. So if you'd like to join us as we're recording, of course, come on over to YouTube. We're always here almost every week, but, we do our best to be here. And you can be part of the live chat over there. So, Stephanie, good morning. It's good to be back with you. Yeah, things are going good. And right now it's just that's not necessarily a bad thing, because topic-wise, general topic-wise for the show, I think we've pretty well covered this in a different fashion anyway. But it's just that with the news of the week, or I should say 2 weeks, or more, depending as to how you want to look at it, I don't think that we're going to need to hash this into the ground quite as much as, we otherwise might do. I'm not looking to pad 2 hours of show with, 30 minutes of content, so don't worry about it. We go short, we go short. I don't care. I'm not worried about it. It's going to be fine. Otherwise, anything that you wanted to drop in before we kind of like really get rolling?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. I will tell everybody that we do have something special that's going to be happening with the horrible scopes for this week and going forward. But what that exactly is going to be a little bit of a surprise. A little bit. At least for the moment. It's going to be all good. So let me get started over here. So, with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts now. Emissary. Wow, this word brings up a lot of possibilities because the easy cut and dry with this one has nothing to do with the topic itself, sort of. In this case, I'm making reference very specifically to a Star Trek, well, pair of Star Trek episodes, the pilot episodes for Deep Space Nine. There's a scene where Ben Sisko, Commander Benjamin Sisko, and Dax go into the wormhole that is just outside of the Bajor system, or just still inside, I should say. And Ben Sisko gets the opportunity of communicating with the entities that reside inside of wormhole. He effectively, because he has been touched by these entities, he is considered the emissary of these entities to the physical world and, physical universe, and to the Bajorans in particular. But in the conversation that they have with these entities and with Benjamin Sisko, the entities don't operate in time the way that we do. They don't experience it the same way. It's not the way that we experience stuff where it's just from 1 second to the next and each one progresses forward and forward, or from one blank moment to the next, or however you want to look at it. They operate differently, and before anybody goes ahead and starts doing the whole Doctor Who wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing, it's you want to look at it kind of that way, all balled up and whatnot. It's fine. But there was one thing that has kind of caught into my head the last couple of weeks, and that is the term emissary, because that's who Benjamin Sisko is. But the entities of the wormhole kept showing different scenes from Ben's lifetime, but they kept coming back to the Battle of Wolf 359, the Borg incursion, where Locutus came through and just went ham on all these Starfleet ships. Just one cube, just totally annihilated waves of Federation ships. And Benjamin Sisko kept seeing scenes from this moment when his wife died on the ship and he had to save his son, and they had to get into an escape pod and get out of the ship before it exploded. Kept coming back to that scene just over and over again. And they said, "You exist here." And it's not until all these years later that I finally have a full understanding of what that is. You exist here in this moment. For Ben Sisko, that's exactly what it was. His grief at the loss of his wife, he existed in his own head. He never left that moment. And all these years later, I finally had that moment actually make sense to me in a way that I've never appreciated. I understand that. I understand that now. I spoke to someone this week where they had said that their husband of many years died in the last two from virus pandemic. And it's been like almost 2 years since. And I understood now. that for both of us, for her it's only been 2 years, for me it's 18. We exist there. And that day, that moment, was yesterday. If you've got something, some piece of trauma that is still holding you, that you still exist in that moment, just remember you're not alone. You're not nearly alone. We want to try to be here for you, to try to help you with that. We're not health providers by any stretch, but please remember, we'll be here to try to help you. If nothing else, just to be able to say, yeah, we'll listen. Please try to be safe to each other. And as usual, see, I get to do the big heavy, and now I get to jump over into the light side of the whole damn thing again, because of course, it's cultural whiplash that way. It's just kind of the way that everything works around here. Can't help it. It's kind of the way that the format of the show works. So let's do this thing. It is time for the horrible scopes. So, for those of you that know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, we don't really much care. Roll a d12, make it up as you go along. It really doesn't matter. Or better yet, and here's the new piece. Check out Heart of the Game Fredonia and see if they can sell you those d12s with the symbols on them. Yes, I spoke to the guy over there at Heart of the Game Fredonia and asked, could we get sponsorship from you? We don't want any money, just want to be able to name somebody, and you've been a good guy to me before. So here's what the horrible scopes look like. You read them through. Can we use your name? And he said, yes. So there we go. So remember, that is Heart of the Game Fredonia. Tell them Shujin Tribble sent you. And of course, as always, hail, hail Fredonia. And for those of you that are wondering, wait, Fredonia is like a made-up country? No, it's a town. It's a town. Trust me, it's a town. Look it up over here in New York. So this week, yeah, I'm going back to the music collection again because I just put it on shuffleboard, but I limited it to specifically the sound effects directory. So if you thought the musical cues were bad before, well, folks, ain't heard nothing yet. You get to have a little bit more fun seeing the internal workings of my head. So let's see what we get. Aries, although yours is listed as arcade, it includes the sound of some driving game and Asteroid. And the best part about Asteroids is there were sequels that were actually better than the original in almost every way. Asteroids Deluxe replaced Hyperspace with a shield, which is good. Space Duel gave you cooperative ship gameplay, and Blasteroids replaced vector graphics with sprites, spaceship morphing, and an actual boss to beat. So this week, find a bowling alley with an actual arcade and go play.
Taurus, you get the sounds of a car door opening and shutting. No locks, no latches being clicked open, nothing except that. Which is exactly how your week will be, Taurus. All business, no pleasure. This week, find your pleasure where you can in food, because you sure ain't having fun any other way. Pick up cheap Chinese takeaway on Friday. You can make your own fried rice for breakfast on Saturday morning.
Yeah, fried rice for breakfast on a Saturday morning. You wake up at noon. It's breakfast somewhere. It doesn't really much matter. Gemini, this one's fun. Listed as Tank Army. It sounds less like a tank and more like a 70-year-old tractor with a lawnmower attachment under it trying to hold on for dear life. This is your way of knowing that you need to get more exercise. And you have no excuses this time. Mall walking is still a thing. So lace up your Converse and head out to the food court. assuming the food court still exists in the mall that you go to these days.
Cancer Moonchild. Your sounds are the ambience from the Cafe Pex in southern Hungary. For over 3.5 minutes, all we get are the overlapping Hungarian voices where not a single piece of silverware can be heard. No spoons, no cups, no saucers, no one walking around, just chatter. This week, have a sit down and just listen to the voices in your head, because some of them would like to have a word with you.
I just want to remind everybody, I wrote these Friday night, so there's an undertone that I can't discuss right now, but I just want to say, just wrote them the way that they came up, randomized, so just let it go. Leo, the randomizer just picked for you 2 horses pass at trot on gravel. Truth be told, I got no real idea as to what to think about this one. There's the old adage about how inside of you there are 2 animals, but of all the animals they might be, we'd never pick horses for you. So this week, honestly, I don't even know. How about you just go find a Brannick device and put it to good use?
Virgo. Oh, perfect. You got one of the shortest sound effects in the collections. At barely 1 second worth, it's Big Macintosh from My Little Pony Friendship is magic saying, "Yep." No, we're not suggesting you watch the show, though you could do worse than that one. This week, try agreeing with everything for just 1 day solid. After all, what's worse that could happen?
Yeah, we're not gonna try to figure that out, because yeah. Libra. Apparently, a bunch of you people are celebrating a bunch of birthdays this week. So, without wasting any more time, here are the names. Michelle,
Susan,
Jean,
Mark,
Fran,
Carrie,
Jay,
Bill,
Cirrus,
Theo,
Stephanie,
Noah,
Erica,
Wolfgang,
Timothy,
Aaron.
Jerry. Happy birthday to you all. And if you didn't hear your name, stop being so selfish. It's their birthday too, you know. Learn to be more, less like you.
Scorpio, you get the sounds of telex and typewriter. You're so young you probably don't even know what telex was used for, but you enjoy the fruits of its technology. We know you know what a typewriter is, but we'll bet you've never changed a daisy wheel even once. This week, get your fingers dirty on red and black ribbon ink.
Yeah, we were talking about this one last night, and it's like, yeah, red and black, and then there's the yellow and blue, because some people had the computer printers with the color dot matrix stuff, and get your fingers full of like everything, makes it look like you got bruises all over your hands. Those were the days, man. Those were the days. Sagittarius, now we're talking. From the Star Trek Original Series Sound Effects CD, and yes, that is an official CD out there. I have a copy of it, with 69 tracks, no less.
Nice.
You get Enterprise doors open into transporter room. And before you think that's not a cool sound, dude, it's a background warble that's just all kinds of soothing at night. Turn that on repeat forever when you go to sleep, and you'll totally sleep like a baby. This week, find that track on YouTube and play it. You'll see that we're right about this, because you need some sleep.
Capricorn. Some of you are too young to remember this sound effect. Most of you likely know the old AOL dial-up sounds, but we'll bet you don't know the difference between the K56 Flex and the X2 handshaking sounds. If you thought that you can tell the difference, you're kidding yourself. Unless you worked in IT in some capacity, you wouldn't know which was which. This week, be proud if someone calls you a freak, spelled with a PH.
Most people don't use that term anymore because it's damn difficult to find a landline that you can do that with. Aquarius, you've got a sound that isn't annoying on its own, surprisingly. The sound of an ATM and its internal mechanical parts at work, like the receipt printer and the money counter. The annoying part is that you... Okay, look, we promise this isn't personal, okay? You keep saying ATM machine. Please, okay, please just stop saying that. It's just an ATM or cash machine. It's not an automated teller machine. Okay? This week, just stop talking so much.
Pisces, you're going to get a sound effect that almost everyone everywhere will recognize. Kids have been imitating it for years, and we'll bet you have too. No, it's not the $6 million man bionic sound, like the eye that goes do 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 da 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 da.
You don't even know how it goes, do you?
I don't.
Okay,
No, you get the one that goes v. That's right. You get the sound transformer station from the robot to vehicle forms because, damn it, we're still just pissed off about Rodimus Prime this week, okay? We're not letting that one go, so just deal with it, okay?
take it easy on this.
I'm fine. I'm okay. Okay, so this week, Pisces, buy more boxes of tissues.
That one might make a little bit more sense if you take a look at last week's horrible scope that wasn't on the show because we didn't have a show last week. Sorry, it's a thing. It's a thing. Those are horrible scopes for this week. Remember, if you liked what you got, I'm not trying hard enough. And if you want something for yourself or someone else or to suggest a theme, just be in touch because I work off of vanity. That's the currency of choice around over here. I'll have these published at the end of the week. Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, Blue Sky. And you can find stuff to read for yourself all over the place on that one. Because that's kind of the way it goes. That's kind of the way that's going to go.
Yeah, it's not Twitter anymore, but whatever.
As far as the URL is concerned, but until that changes, that's what I'm going to call it because I don't care how much of a dumbass he is until the domain changes. That's okay.
And he is a dumbass.
Oh yeah. It's episode 461 on the Doc Uranarner. TikTok. Yes, I was going to add a little bit more to that, but I've already used the not safe for work tag, so I don't want to do that again. Yeah, I was kind of going a different direction when I first wrote this one up, but I think we can work this one a little bit more broadly. The idea that there are all these indictments coming down, and as Brigid and I discussed before the show, a criminally negligent number of them. I believe the expression they used was criminally low number, something like that. I forget exactly what it was I said. Doesn't really much matter. But they're coming. They're coming, and it's just a matter of time of them all, colliding into each other. But along with that is going to come legal discovery. And the fact that some of these charges and court proceedings are going to be broadcast. Yeah, that's great because that means that pieces of factual information are going to be on display for the world to see. And especially the people who have been sniffing and snorting the Q-aid, shall we say. So as usual, the question becomes, There is going to be the outliers in the bell curve that are just not going to be swayed and are not going to believe the legitimacy of actual factual items. Do we even bother? Can we even connect with these people again and pull them back from the brink? And the big problem is we know full well that there are a lot of them. Let me reword that. There is not an insignificant number that we're simply not going to be able to pull back. But damn, it's going to be interesting to watch some of these people having to reset their brains after all this, don't you think?
Discovery's going to be lit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What's going to be funny about that, though, is that when some of these people go to be interviewed, and you know full well they will allow themselves to be, when the question becomes, well, do you believe that the pieces of evidence like item 1, item 2, item 7, item 14, whatever which ones ever, they want to throw in there, do you believe that those are real? The inevitable answer is going to be no. I don't believe that those are real. I believe that those were planted by whoever the hell it was. It was fabricated by whoever it was. It was blah, 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 whatever. The question is going to be from the interviewer, any interviewer worth their salt, and John, what the hell is his name? Klopfer. God, you know what I'm talking about. The guy that has worked on Comedy Central and whatnot, who's gone out and interviewing all these people at Trump rallies, is just like, ha, we don't even see the irony in a shirt that says, Trump that bitch when we talk about respecting women, right? Any interviewer worth their salt is going to say, well then, why didn't Trump's legal team raise objections and simply accept it? To all those pieces, why couldn't they they argue that the information is invalid? Why did they accept it? Don't know. Because all these people, after having been economic experts and then becoming armchair virologists, and now we're going to become constitutional legal experts and civil legal experts on states of election interference. See, these guys have got to get tired eventually, right? I mean, they'll stop interviewing each other, right?
No.
It's just going to be too. It's going to be too much fun. Because now I'm wondering which ultra right wing news group is still available. OAN, One American News. Yeah, One American News, OAN. They still exist, but it's getting harder and harder and harder for them to find people who want to advertise on their little Italy network thing. And I say network because they're mostly a streaming group now, as I've understood it. So, way to go, guys. Way to go. I'm just finding this funnier and funnier and funnier, and not in a good way, you know? So you've said before, Brigid, that you've got lots of folks in your community who've got all the red and blue flags out there that are supporting the very indicted guy.
Yep.
So I want to know: has there been a noticeable dip in the number of those flags waving recently?
I mean, there's been some, but there are still people out flying their Trump 2024 flags. So,
Oh, they at least changed out from 2020. That's good.
yeah.
That's good. That's good. And the reason I say that is because aren't there people who have been interviewed who have said, "Yeah, he's still the president," and
Yeah.
Joe Biden is just I don't know
Illegitimate something or the other.
what have they said that he is? He's a three kobolds in a raincoat jacket or something. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So the inevitable question that comes to that from people who are interviewed is just like, well, how can he run for a third term when that's illegal if he's still president? Uh, hmm. You ever seen the people that try to answer that one? How much they twist their brain into a pretzel? Kind
I
of.
haven't, but I bet that would be funny.
Yeah, it looks to be the first time that these people have had the opportunity of putting wrinkles back into their brain in a very long time. That's a very mean spirited thing for me to say, but I never claimed to be a nice guy, so screw him. But you're right. Discovery is going to be all kinds of fun. Um, Stephanie has pointed out something, and I think it's worth us taking this and kind of running with just a little bit. Saying a good start would be to lock Trump away without access to the internet to cut off the source.
Yep.
There's something to be said for that. There's definitely something to be said for that. He's been yelling and complaining that, you know, infringing on his First Amendment right to, let's see, what was it that he was going after? Doxing and attacking the character and people that made up the grand jury would be abridging his First Amendment rights or something along those lines. I forget exactly what it was that he said, but generally speaking, it came out as dumbassery. Pretty sure that's the right technical term for it, right?
Yeah.
So we're not exactly legal experts, but I think Brigid, I think you know what the answer is going to be to the whole. Where does that fall under First Amendment breaches? Right there, because I think both of us pretty well know what the right answer is.
Well, part of his conditions of release were to keep his mouth shut about that sort of thing and not intimidate witnesses and jurors and judges and all that stuff. So he violated his bond
Say
conditions.
it isn't so. The perennial liar lied? Or was it just that he has no impulse control like a 3-year-old?
I think he has no impulse control. I think he is physically incapable of not doing what he's doing. So I think they need to gag him, take away his little toys so he can't get on the internet. Actually, I think pretrial detention would be the way to go with him. That's what I would do.
I think it would be a lot more fun to. By the way, there are county fairs going on right now out here in New York State. So I think what would be more fun would be to take his little stubby finger hands and go to a county fair and dip him in that like warm wax stuff, so you enclose his hands in the stuff, but replace the warm paraffin and wax with super glue. I'm saying, and just make a ball of super glue where his hands would be, and kind of go from there. I'm not saying it would be a really great idea because somebody's gonna have to help him with his biological functions, but I mean, there are healthcare workers that probably would do it. You know, close their eyes and think of England for just those few moments, because I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, you just fit him with a catheter and take out your sadistic tendencies on him. That would be wrong, though. That really would be wrong, though.
No.
No, I mean,
Get a McDonald's straw.
I mean, professionally, intentionally making it more arduous than it needs to be would be wrong. But most people have never had that happen to them, so they got no way of knowing if anybody's doing it wrong that way. So, kind of things. Now Stephanie's also pointed out another piece, and yeah, this is a concern that we've got also, and this does actually play into the whole thing for the topic also. Anyway, well, also pointed out, how do you twist mush into a pretzel? It's not easy, but it can kind of be done. But the thing in particular was, there is a concern that transmitting the trial would expose witnesses to danger, as the fanatics would know who they are. I could be wrong on this because I'm no legal expert, but I'm pretty sure here in the US, the individuals that would be called to testify, their information could become public record because it would be part of public record, unless a motion is made by whoever it is that's presenting the witness to have their identities sealed, or at least temporarily for their own safety. Eventually, their information could become available, but I mean, it's yeah. There's a very good possibility for exactly that problem. And we can say that because the grand jury pool in let me see if I remember right. It was the grand jury pool in Georgia where the list of
Has
people
already been leaked.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people have already gotten threatening communications.
Yep.
And worse yet, and for a different reason, some of those communications have been threatening and have specifically named unindicted conspirator number one, shall we say, as the driving force and factor for it. Which, some people don't understand how easy it is to locate people in the information age when they send stuff. So, people, and these people are really, really not exactly Harvard law graduates, shall we say. That sounds about right to you.
That's a good way to put it.
People don't understand what it is that they're doing, how much they're driving themselves into the ground. Wasn't there a... Now I'm trying to remember. I think it was a one of those ancient Chinese proverb kind of things. And I don't know if it was real or if it was fake or whatever the hell, but I just remember it as, before setting out for revenge, first you dig 2 graves. Again, I don't know if that one's real or if it's mistranslated or whatever the case may be. But the idea is that you go after somebody, you dig a grave for who you're going for, and one for yourself. Because chances are the only way that you're going to be able to succeed is by killing yourself in the process. So, I don't think these people are really smart enough or think far enough long term to kind of understand this part at all. So here's where,
especially if you call and leave a threat, it's really easy to find you.
yeah. Yeah, and here's the question that I've got for you on this. The vast majority of these people who are doing this fringe domestic terrorism, let's call it what it is, all right? These people tend not to be of the younger variety. I think is the nicest way of put that. There is a definite age factor. There is a definite demographics factor where this is all involved.
Yep.
And what hurts me about this is where this tends to be at this point. And this is my own observation. I'm not basing this on any kind of scientific, factual, statistical kind of thing. And you see if you agree with me on this one. These people seem to fall into the category of what we have previously referred to as the greatest generation. The baby boomer. That pretty well sounds about right for what you've observed so far.
Yep, it's boomers.
These are the people that grew up after World War II. They saw the economic boom. They saw what happened to the people who came back after war because they were born from those. They saw, in some cases, the civil rights come through. They saw the after effects of the women's rights groups coming through. They saw the definite change in sexualities in the late 60s into the 70s, the androgyny factor happening, and it absolutely continued up into the 80s. And, well, now here we are. We're into the 21st century. And here they are trying so desperately to do exactly the opposite of what they tried to teach our generation. Remember how it used to be? You go out there to play on the field when you're a kid. It's not if you win or lose, it's how you play the game. Be proud that you actually went out there and you tried your hardest. And what ends up happening? Most assuredly, not that now. Geez, I wonder why. You think I've missed anything on this one so far? Or you got something to kind of add into that? Because, well, I don't mean to bring up a sore subject, but you've got family.
Yep.
You've talked about that one before. That's
I have no idea. I don't understand it. Unless they just want to go back to 1950.
yeah, there's that. And you know what? Roxanne, by the way, hi, hun. You're right. You're correcting me. You are correct. You're correct. I didn't think about it correctly. Roxanne's correcting me. I thought the quote greatest generation were the ones that lived during the war. You are right. I am terribly sorry. You're quite right. Quite right. The ones that I was, the way I was trying to explain it was that the the greatest generation imparted to the boomer generation the things about play fair, hard work. They instilled that into our generation afterwards, and then they're the ones that have since just kind of thrown that one out and said, screw it. The boomer generation is the one that's being the problem. The quote unquote greatest generation at this point are very much uh, the nicest way I can put that is they are a statistical aberration at this point. They are aging out of the gene pool. They are becoming an X generation. I don't know how many other ways I can put this one and try to get a little bit of. I'm not even going to giggle out of you. No, I'm trying really hard to come up with something over here. So yes.
Well, what's interesting is a lot of the people that are in their 80s now are starting to swing back more Democratic. And I'm not sure what the reason for that is, but I see it as a good thing. There's not very many of them left, but they don't want to lose their Social Security. They seem to have a better grasp on what's going on.
Yeah. I think the reason for that, for the older generation, now the actual correct greatest generation, they are the ones who are swinging back, who are swinging Democratic at this point, because they were the ones that actually did believe the whole idea of play fair, fair play. Everybody should have an equal opportunity, even if they didn't necessarily see it societally because of the way that stuff was, because society kind of sucked a good portion of that. They've seen how the Republican Party here in the United States, the conservatives, capital C conservatives, I should say, have very much just said, "Oh, the hell with it! I'll just do it the right way. Fuck all the rules. We don't care anymore. We will win by every opportunity, by every means we can. We will use every dirty trick that we can think up, and we're not even going to worry about the rules. Screw it. It doesn't matter anymore. We just want to win." And they're the ones that that tried to teach them the honorable way of doing it. And as we've seen, there is no honor to be had at this point. So yeah, I can absolutely see them swinging into the Democratic grouping at this point.
Well, they're seeing people lose rights too.
Hmm.
Seeing rights being taken away, and they're not okay with that.
Yeah. Stephanie's also pointed out, the fanatics are those who are scared of change and want to go back to the fantasy of the 1950s. I say fantasy because my memories of the 50s are not of Nirvana. Well, yeah. For anybody that doesn't have knowledge firsthand of what it was like in England during World War II and the subsequent, let's call it two decades after, for just for argument's sake. And I know full well Stephanie's going to back me up on this one, because my grandmother had befriended someone who was from England, who lived through the war, and we had the opportunity of talking when I was a kid a little bit about it. So I didn't exactly have. I had some firsthand accounts of what it was like growing up during the war, with the buzz bombs coming through. And we've kind of talked about it before, where, you heard the buzz bombs, so long as you heard them, you're okay. As soon as the sound stopped, that's when you panic and you look around and you find out, is it going past you, or is it something that you really have to worry about? And to this day, there are still buildings with pockmarks in them from bombs, from attacks. And that is not something that you can easily get away from. And the cultural knowledge of exactly what that is cannot be overstated. I mean, the idea of living literally in a war zone, growing up in it, and hoping to hell that, well, we're safe because we're across the water. We're mostly safe because we're across the water. don't think that most people can really truly appreciate exactly that level of concern. I mean, over here in the U.S., we grew up with the concern and the knowledge that there was the possibility of a nuclear strike. And as silly as it might sound, there were, when I was growing up, there were fire drills, there were air raid drills, which were a little bit different. And fortunately, for my time frame, we didn't have um, the different air raid, the nuclear strike drills. And they were all a little bit different. Fire drill, everybody lines up, go outside the building, you go to your designated place, you wait for the all clear, come in. Okay, drill's over. Air raid drill, everybody goes into the middle of the hallway and puts their face to the wall, cross your arms over your head, and, just wait. Okay? The nuclear attack drill was to literally crawl underneath your desk. Wasn't going to make any difference, but we had them. And we constantly lived under the Cold War worry that there was going to be a nuclear strike between the US and the Soviet Union. Reminding you that it wasn't Russia at that point, it was the Soviet Union. For those of you that are wondering why I'm hammering on that, because you don't understand, go get a history book. Preferably not something by PragerU. That's a whole other thing we can get later. Yeah, by the way, Dennis, you're welcome to go ahead and fuck right the fuck off. I'm using my allotment of F jokes tonight. Here. So yeah, over here growing up in the US, that was a very much more nebulous thing. It was always a worry, but we never had worry about it as a real thing, so to speak. Scares the living Jesus out of me now to think about it.
Especially knowing how close we came.
Several times. Yeah, talked about that. 83? Memory serves, I think it was 1983. The radar malfunction in the Soviet Union, where they thought that we had launched a single missile from the United States, and the radar operator said, it's a mistake. Don't do anything. And he got his ass chewed out, and he got demoted, and he got sent to off into the snowy no man's land of Siberia, because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And we're alive today because of that. So, yay. Roxanne had also pointed out about everybody, these people wanting to go back to the fantasy of the 50s because they know what fascism is and what it leads to. Also to do with the whole, the older, the actual quote-unquote greatest generation. They saw, they heard, they witnessed, they know. They still know. There aren't too many of them, but they know. Sorry, there's bits and pieces of some of the stuff that's still got a little bit of an emotional memory in me. Finding out how close we came to a nuclear exchange in the early 80s. That is something I didn't learn until only a couple years back, and it absolutely terrified the hell out of me to find out just how close it was. And arguably, it was closer than the exchange that we could have gone through after finding out about the nuclear weapons in Cuba. So yeah, there've been a couple of times. So we've got people that are going to be exposed to discovery with these trials, and we don't even have to go into the whole Washington D.C. January 6th thing directly. The attack in the Capitol that happened. We don't have to go with that. Let's just deal with the election interference in Georgia. There are certain things that we already know about. And the biggest piece of the whole damn thing has got to be the recorded phone call where the then president called and said, look, all I need you to do is to find me enough votes to win. Just find me, magically create, just fudge the numbers just a little bit so that, I win. And that's a piece of damning information right there. Even without all the other stuff, that phone call in and of itself is a piece that it may not be the biggest, it may not be enough on its own to nail this piece of jello to the wall, shall we say? I mean, they do make orange jello, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Artificially colored orange, right?
Quite gross.
Okay. The only way to make it palatable is to add external sugar to it. I mean, it's got to grow consistency all on its own before you do anything to it, right?
I just, ugh.
Okay. That in and of itself, we know full well, there are lots of people who've just gone ahead and said that that phone call was just a friendly phone call. It was aspirational, is the excuse that's been used. You've heard that one too. I hear you chuckling.
Mm-hmm.
What level on the scale is your bullshit detector going when you first heard that one? It was aspirational.
Yeah, it'd be aspirational for me to go to a bank and ask for $1 million too.
It'll be aspirational, especially if you went ahead and you brought a, I don't know, you could bring, well, I guess technically if you brought a Nerf gun, it's technically still a weapon. I guess technically you could be arrested for that. We here at Holy Crap the Vlogcast absolutely recommend that you do not bring a Nerf gun into a financial institution of any kind ever, because that's probably a really bad idea.
Yeah.
So please don't do that. Although it would be funny as hell to try to explain to the FDIC, yeah, I handed over everything that was in my teledrawer to somebody with a spring-loaded suction cup dart. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking back to when I was a teller and how the way it was told to us was somebody wants the money and they give you a note that says that they want the money. It's not your money. Give them the money. Don't worry about it. Just give them the money. And the reason why I'm chuckling about it now is that I'm realizing the bullet resistant, not proof, bullet resistant glass that we had was like 3 inches thick, in front of us, in front of our heads with a shelf. But I don't remember if the bullet resistant glass extended from torso level down. Now that I think about it, I don't remember if it went lower. Um, you know what? All these years later, I never really thought about it. Oh, that. Oh, okay, never mind. I'll do my best not to think too much about that anymore. No, I never had to deal with anybody wanting to rob the bank when I was working at it, but boy, howdy. Wow. That's one of those memories that suddenly comes back and just slap you around a little bit. When was the last time I worked in the bank? 1992. So
Long time ago.
it's been a long 1992. Okay, 1992. Been 30 years. My God, it's been 30. I can actually say it's been 30 years, and I have to actually think about it. Okay, you know what? It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. Anyway, oh, Stephanie. Stephanie's giving me shit over here. It was not just one phone call, Shu. I know, I know, I know. But I'm using the one specific phone call to point out because that one made the news reels. I know we don't use newsreels anymore. Just humor an old man for a second here. It made the newscasts like crazy. But the point of it was not taken out of context. It was, in some cases, it was, what, a good 30-second clip for a lot of places was what was used. So
Yeah,
that
the Washington Post had the whole recording. It was like an hour.
but the stuff that ended up on TV news, there was a
Yeah.
good 20, 30 seconds that was there so that the context was there.
Oh,
It
yeah.
it wasn't like you could just like cherry pick stuff out of it all. And they played it. They had a transcript going up on the screen. And then there were still the diehard people that were still saying it was perfectly fine. It's exactly what you'd expect any sitting president to do to, fight for their cause. And didn't find anything absolutely wrong with it. But the thing is, Brigid, when the next election comes up and a similar recording was had by the sitting president at that point, reminding everybody the current sitting president is Joe Biden.
Yeah.
If that were to have happened, and yes, I know we're extrapolating from current knowledge, what would they do?
He'd be entered jail no time flat.
Yep. They'd be yelling, screaming for his head. Or neck, but that's only for vice presidents, apparently. Yes, I'm intentionally invoking that one because let's also remember these sons of bitches also have the whole passive aggressive thing going on for Kamala Harris because she's a woman, because she's a person of color woman. So they will do the whole thing about mispronouncing her name because apparently these people are just shit. And they see nothing wrong with it. Again, it's just more and more and more. How do we break through to these people? Can we break through to these people and bring them back into something resembling? I'm not even going to say reality anymore. I'll just say society.
I don't think it's possible. I think they're too far gone. I hate to say that, but that's what I think.
There are definitely going to be a non-zero number of people for which that is going to be true. And that hurts. That's sad. But, and here's the problem. And I hate to do this. Do we just have to wait them out? Do we just have to wait for them to just age out of the populace?
I think so.
We're doing it with Mitch McConnell because that son of a bitch apparently has got some kind of a deal. He gave up Pat Robertson to keep his own goddamn ass alive. And that seems to be catching up with. And then we got, oh God, what the hell is her name? Feinstein?
Mm-hmm.
She is another one that, truth be told, I don't even know which political party she's with. I don't care. Because she is decrepit enough, she should go as well. There's a number of people who are in the far older age bracket, shall we say, that just need to go the hell away. And I hate to say it because that also means that Bernie Sanders falls into that same category. Actually, wait a minute. How the hell old is Bernie now? I don't even remember. Let's see. Is currently is your personal status 81? He is 81 years old. He was born September of 1941. His formative years were in New York City during World War II. Damn. And he's a good guy. I don't agree with everything that he says. He's just a good guy. He's the type of person that basically says, look, shit's bad, let's fix it. Okay? Let's fix it as much as we can for everybody. Sounds good. And here's how we can do it. Let's do this. And then that's where everything starts to go sideways. He's 81 years old. And he gets it. And the problem is, like I said, he's older. He's another one that, I'm sorry, I love him, but we need new blood. And the new blood that's going to be coming in, the younger folks, they've lived through all the bullshit that's happened. They are definitely going to, when they finally get their foothold in, they're going to change things. They're going to change things rapidly and for the better. And I, for one, hope that I get to live long enough to watch our much younger, I was going to say overlords, but that's not quite the right expression that I'm looking for, but you get the idea. God, can you imagine what is going to be like when our kids are the ones that are running the show? I'd like to think that we did a good enough job that they'll do a pretty good job of running the show, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of items over here. Roxanne's also pointed out the glass may protect you, but it's all the customers on the robber's side that you need to think about. Talking about the bullet-resistant glass in the banks. Yeah, we were made well aware of that Hence the reason why the order was you get a robbery. Don't
Give
play a
them the
hero.
money.
Give them the money. It's not your money. It's insured money. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Just give them. And like I said, fortunately, I never had to deal with that, so that's good. And about the recorded phone call from Georgia, Stephanie's pointed out that one is memorable because it's been repeated constantly, and with good goddamned reason. Because holy shit, what a shit show that one was. Shouldn't have happened. Should never have happened, but it did. And I, for one, am very much happy to know that it's available and it's public record. It's been transcribed and it's out there because good. And by the way, you're also being agreed with. Stephanie said, I'm with Brigid on this one. The ones who can be reached are being reached. And that's good. That's good. I'm really glad that this is happening, even just a little bit. There's going to be more and more people that are going to have to come face to face with the reality of discovery. All the stuff that's going to come out, all the stuff that is going to be agreed. Well, all right. Now, see, here's the thing. Stuff that's admitted into evidence for discovery, that has to be, the prosecution would bring forward whatever it is. It has to be, the list of information has to be given to opposing counsel so that they have time to go through it and see, everything that's in there. And then they can raise objections to whatever the individual items are as stuff goes along. And that's before it even gets into the trial room. Courthouse. I know what I'm talking about. It's just, can't think of the word sometimes. So like I was saying before, everything that comes up as evidence in the trial is going to be stuff that has been agreed to because it's being presented as evidence. So, Brigid, I want to kind of get an over under on from you on this one. How long do you think it's going to be before the first piece of evidence is brought forward by prosecution, and the defense table says we object to this information being used as evidence? Just so that the judge can just put their palm face and just, you had your chance to object to this during discovery. Shut up. How long do you think it's going to take?
Constant. It is going to be constant, especially if it's televised.
Yep. So I'm wondering if it's going to turn into like this whole My Cousin Vinny thing, where the opposing counsel just gets, you can either shut up or I can hold you in contempt.
It'll probably go there.
It probably will. It probably will. That's gonna be interesting when that finally happens. But and there's one last thing I want to get, and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to go the full 2 hours because I don't think it's really necessary. Here's the big question, and this is the really tough existential question, because because there is a reality on this one. And I wanna kind of lead into this just a little bit. Let's say Trump is taken into custody. Leave all the stuff about, the how that's all supposed to work aside for a second. He's taken into custody. He's brought into jail to be held. in whatever capacity that's going to be. And he keeps himself in something resembling healthy condition. That's one thing. The existential question is, what happens if this son of a bitch dies before the trial is complete? Can the accused continue to be prosecuted if they started the trial alive and died mid-trial? I honestly don't know if there is a mechanism for continuing a trial in... I mean, you can do it in absentia if someone has fled the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
An argument could be made for a similar case in this particular situation because of the severity of the charges, I would think. Maybe.
I don't know. I would have to ask an attorney who knows more about that. I don't know.
Because the existential part of this is, if the defendant in this particular case dies and the trial comes to a halt because of it, what do we do? Nationally, societally, in this country, what do we do if there is no final finding of legal finding of fact as to what happened? It's all just left up to everybody to kind of decide for themselves?
Well, I think the rest of the trial would have to go on because they're co-defendants. And if they're found guilty, then by extrapolation, maybe that would do something. I don't know.
That's considering that in Georgia, if memory serves, they're going under the RICO statutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were 19 co-defendants, or 19 total.
That's a good point.
So if they find some of them guilty or most of them guilty, I'd have to say that would carry over, since it is his conspiracy.
Yeah. That's good. That's a really good point. Maybe tonight before I go to sleep, I'll do a little bit of looking around and see if there have been any trials where something like that did happen. Because with the various mafia cases, I have to imagine that there's got to have been at least one where trial was going on and somebody got hit before the end of a trial, and I have to believe that's happened at least once. It would make a great movie otherwise. And apparently the chat's pretty well kind of going with this one. Stephanie's point: 18 indicted co-defendants and 30 not indicted co-defendants, of which I'm kind of wondering where Lindsey Graham falls into all that. But somebody have said that he's turned into a canary, but I have on that. That could be wrong. And Roxanne's also said Brigid's correct. The only one that would stop is the January 6th trial. Probably. Because he would be, if I've understood the way that stuff is expected at this point, he would be the one that is considered the orchestrator, the head honcho of the whole thing, and everything spins on the head of his point of the upside down pyramid, I guess the best way to describe it. That would be that's going to be interesting for me to go look up. We can really hope that get through to these people. I'm really, really, really hoping that the trial itself is going to whittle down all these hardliners to finally really re-examine all this stuff and really take themselves out of their own head and maybe finally agree, yeah, something's wrong. I don't want them to necessarily come to quote unquote our side, but I definitely want them to stop being on the side that they've been on, I guess. I just put that. That's not wrong of me to hope for, is it?
Or to at least admit, okay, yeah, what he did, he broke the law. What he did was illegal, it was criminal. It was not okay.
One of those few times where I want a long and something approaching healthy life, or at the very least, just a long life. At least long enough to see the end of trial, at the very least.
And the minimum 5 years.
And then we got the documents. And then we got all the civil things about all the places that he stiffed for payments. And then we've got the lawyers that he stiffed for payments. And then, well, it just kind of goes on from there. Item last, then. What are these people going to think? What pivot point are they going to go to? Not if, but when he's convicted and goes to jail. Is he just going to become a martyr and make it worse? Because personally, I don't know. And that's a really, really tough question to answer.
Well, that's why they got to take his devices away from him so he can't be on the internet.
I'm on board. Again, I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I don't know First Amendment law as well as I would like to think that I do, because I'd like to think that I have basic understanding, and I'm not a lawyer, so.
Yeah, they can do that. That can be part of sentencing.
Yeah.
They do it for, child trafficking. They do it for people that are caught with child pornography. Tell them they can't be on the internet, so why not?
Let him write up his own press releases on a Smith Corona manual typewriter, right?
Yeah.
Find him an Olivetti somewhere to plug in. There's some people that don't know what Olivetti is. Just young kids. I don't know what we can. I don't know what we're going to be able to do to make things better for ourselves, for the people that are around us. But man, at the very least, we can keep watch, see what's going on. And I think that's probably the only thing that we can do, and just hope that some of these people come to better conclusions. I think that might be the best way of describing that. And Roxanne, I think I'm going to give you the last on this one. saying, I think they need to put him in house arrest in his apartments in his own tower. Just empty out the floor or two below him. Considering how few places are being rented out in those X-branded apartments, somehow I don't think it's going to be really hard to find a couple of spare floors. But that's just me. I'm spiteful that way, so screw 'em. I'm going to see about wrapping us right about here. Did you have anything left over? I don't think so, but did you have anything left over at this point for yourself?
No, I'm good.
The opportunity to spit on the still breathing corpse of him, right?
Well, I've got my Chex Mix ready just in case.
You know, that's a good point. I have no idea what flavor popcorn, but I will say this for everybody: if you really want to do the best popcorn as far as to making sure that everything is popped, don't use an air popper. Don't get a Jiffy Pop. Get a wok. Get a wok, and you will get every kernel popped if you do it right. I do. Let me tell you, that's fun. Up until the point where the bottom of the wok gets a little bit too hot for butter in there, and well, then you've got popcorn flambe. But that's all on you to try to figure out, folks. You just have yourself a safe time of it. I don't really think that's such a good idea, but you know what? It is what it is. Let's call it there and just be done with it. Thank you all for being with us tonight, as always. Hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives, both of our perspectives, all of our perspectives, whatever it is. And you got something to think about for the week ahead. Chat, guys, thank you. Roxanne, thank you. Didn't think that you were going to be here, so, good to see you. Thank you. And Stephanie, good to have you back. Please, just take care of yourself. It is getting into the late part of the summer, so hurricane season. So all you folks that are going to be out there on the coasts of the continents, doesn't matter which one, please be careful, because there are hurricanes and cyclones and tropical depressions and storms and whatnot that are coming. We've seen them. And I think it's safe for me to say, on behalf of all of us here at the show, the folks out there in Hawaii, our hearts go out to all you guys, and just really hope that those of you that can get to safety, please just do. And up over in Canada way, up there Yellowknife and whatnot, where there are wildfires that are just burning hectare upon hectare, get the fuck out of Dodge. Please just be safe, people. Really looking for all you guys to just be safe out there. Brigid, glad you're able to make it. You have yourself a good night, a good week, of course, coming up. And what do you want to end up with?
I'm gonna have to say fuck you to Kevin McCarthy again for being a spineless weasel. He knows better. He knows better.
Go ahead and explain what he did. Because
He is still defending Trump, and he knows better. We have recordings of him. He knows better.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm also going to slide sideways on this one and mention, for those of you that have not exactly been paying attention, over the last 20, 30 years, digital recordings of interviews and statements and speeches and everything has kind of exploded all over the world. So if you said things and posted things and uttered spoken interviews about certain things in the last 30 years, it's entirely possible that somebody has recorded it somewhere and indexed it so that it could be found again later. So people who say one thing now but said something else differently before, no, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass, Chris Christie. Somebody has pointed out that Chris Christie has been stomping for and then stomping against and then stomping for Trump back and forth, and people have gone ahead and pointed out, look, he says whatever he has to get him the best advantageous position at any point. The man has no spine either. And yes, this is a fat joke at his expense because he's a bad person. Somehow, I am not at all surprised that he can twist and turn and squash in whatever direction he wants simply because, well, look at him. I think the only way that he has structural support right now is from all the ice cream sticks that he's stuck in his back. I'm going with that because I told you before, I'm not necessarily a nice person. I am mean-spirited, and right now, I don't care. Because screw him too. I think it's fair to go ahead and say that. So, you have yourself a good week and take care of yourself, huh?
You too.
Folks, as always, thanks for being with us. We hope to see you again. Well, with any luck, we'll be back again next week without any interruption. If you want to go ahead and be in touch with us, all our contact info is over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. The download link is available there for the audio version of the shows. Dalan has been busy working on stuff. He had to log into the account in order to get the Not Safe for Work episodes because you can't just access those easy way and download them. So that was fun. If you'd like to leave a voicemail message, yes, I'm keeping the phone number for now. It's 859-HCTV-554, 859-428-8554. We will be looking forward to seeing you again, like I said, with any luck next week with no interruption. If you are in need of being heard, please take a swing over to the Discord channel and send up a little message in the chat and let us know I need a voice. If you need us, we'll try our best to be there for you. So, until the next time we're together, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And my lady, 18 years on, I am still in love. Well, matane Fujin. I love you and I miss you. You dream of me. Folks, until the next time we're together, as always, good night.